Baby, so go. Gagaramis. Baby, so go. Gagaramis. Baby, so go. Gagaramis. Baby, so go. Baby, so
The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast. Across 750 acres in the rural area of Brazelton, Georgia, lies the famous Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Featuring 125 feet of elevation and a mix of blind, sweeping, and sharp corners, this circuit has held famous endurance races, racing schools, and many forms of motorsport since its opening in 1970. Tonight, the Red Sox Racing League features their 2022 Summer Series finale here to close out a season and to crown two champions. Welcome everybody to PTR TV, where we present to you round number 6 of the Red Sox Racing League, again here at Michelin Raceway at Road Atlanta in Brazelton, Georgia, the famous and world-renowned racetrack. It's going to be myself, as usual, Corey Silva, giving you the calls, and in the booth, giving you all of the action and producing the images that you do see on your display right now. As usual, we are under qualifying right now. We already have had our TCR qualifying, which we've had a very small lineup here for TCR this evening, but we already have our champions dictated for that series, so we'll make sure we give you the information on that. But as you can see right now, some qualifying going on, and some of these drivers are out on the circuit, seeing what they can do for lap times, following Terry Dahl here, one of the top dogs here in the series, currently running 5th. Ross Booth, he already is top of the board here, so congratulations to him for that effort. In fact, coming into this race, we actually don't have, even with the drop week system in play, I did get the calls and the information from admin this morning, where the champions are already dictated and clinched right now. So on the bottom of your screen, congratulations to Jason Breifogel with the TCR class, as well as Ross Booth in the GT3 class. They are our 2022 spring champions, but we do have still some competitions for second and third. Chad Dalton, Alex Keatslar, and Mitch Heller fighting for second in the GT3 class, as well as Mark Wilson and Les Turner still in contention for second in TCR, so still have a fair amount to race for this evening. Of course, tonight's race also sponsored by, we want to thank the sponsor of tonight's race, Anodyne. Anodyne is your trusted source for differentiated products for industrial, aerospace, defense, rail, and transportation and markets for over 50 years. Anodyne offers a wide range of hydraulic dampers, elastomeric bumpers, and vibration isolation products to meet all of your simulation needs. Contact Anodyne at anodyne.com. That is tonight's sponsor, and I know Terry Dahl is affiliated with them, and they have done a fair amount to facilitate with some of these broadcasts, so a shout out to them in that capacity. But about a minute left here on the timer, still some guys turning laps. Reed Rundle on track now. You'll remember him having a great run towards the end of last season. I cannot remember offhand if he did manage to win a race, but he was definitely in contention for quite a few of them. But this past season has been a complete different ballgame. Of course, last season we were in the GT4s. We still had the TCRs, but we were running with the GT4 cars. This season we have the GT3s along with the TCRs, and now TCRs haven't been getting the love this season. Maybe some of the competition has switched over and made it tougher for Reed, but currently 4th here, about 0.7 of a second off of the pole pace. our weather conditions here this evening. 77 degrees in the air, 79 in the track with overcast conditions, minimal wind, and negligible humidity. Something of note, you may remember from last week that we did end very close to nighttime. The headlights were on and actually providing some level of illumination for these drivers, but here at Road Atlanta this week, they may come into full regard. Based on what I was told, this race will be ending at 9:15 sim time, and sunset here at the virtual Road Atlanta is scheduled for about 8:45 sim time. So I think we'll actually have some lights here. The headlights will be illuminated for nighttime. We do have some temporary lights scattered across the circuit, so it will not be into pure darkness. Course here with Petit Le Mans, the 12-hour races here. They have brought in some temporary Musco lighting, so that will facilitate these guys in having some illumination. It's not going to be stadium lighting such as a Daytona, but you'll be able to see your way around if it even indeed comes to that point of darkness. Still, time will tell about that, but still on our cool down right now, and seeing if anybody can better their time. Still 2 drivers on track, 3 drivers. James Prostel coming into the pits right now, so it really is just Rundle and Keatslar here this evening. We did get confirmation as well that PTR TV will be covering the Red Sox Racing League for their fall campaign. Still and do have to wait for the schedule and final dates on that, but we did kind of sign that deal, so it'll be the 3rd season in a row we'll be covering the Red Sox Racing League, which is a very good and fun series to cover. Our race details brought to you by Sunshine Boy on Twitch. 35-minute races with the limited fuel, and the incidents do accumulate for every 6 incidents that you acquire. Rather than, let me word that, you get points penalties for every 6 incidents, and if you don't make it to the pits under your own power, you do get a 4-point penalty on the cooldown lap. We know how important fuel is here in this series, and how we've seen many races won by varying levels of fuel and times on pit road, so be interesting to see that. But the cooldown timer is about to expire, so we are going to get ourselves ready to head down trackside and give you the starting lineup here today from Road Atlanta. So if you haven't liked and subscribed, please do so. Hit those 2 buttons, the subscribe button and the notification bell. Don't miss anything. You can, of course, check out and follow our Facebook page, facebook.com/PTRTV1. But enough banter aside, let's go down trackside and give you the PTR TV starting lineup here today from Michelin Raceway at Road Atlanta. On tonight's overall poll is our GT3 champion Ross Booth with a 1 minute 17.894. Mitch Heller right behind him, only about a half-tenth back in second. In third, we have Chad Dalton. Reed Rundle just spoke about him in some length. He's going to be rolling off in the 4th spot this evening, with Terry Dahl, the league admin, in 5th. Alex Keatslar, again, fighting for that 2nd spot in the points. He is going to be in 6th. Tommy Ryan in 7th. Chris Widener in the 37 car. He's going to be in 8th. And then rounding out our top 10 in GT3, Bill Paulucky and James Prostel Jr. And then for our TCR drivers this evening, Mark Wilson and Jason Breifogel, our TCR champion. Les Turner and Dwayne McCarthy. And then Jesse Bodas rounding out the grid. And Sheldon Rosenbaum for GT3 failed to grid here this evening. Trying to make out where on the circuit we are right now. I feel like such a noob for saying that, but some of these cameras aren't. We're actually right on the front stretch, so we will have a full lap around here at Road Atlanta. Again, it's a track that features a fair amount of passing zones, nice and wide, but does have some difficult sections to it. Our keys to the race here, sponsored by Still Looking for a Sponsor. Night racing ? We don't know how much night racing we're going to have, but based on what we've been told, there's going to be some of it. The blind corners here are a challenge, especially you'll see as we come up and down the hill here in just a moment. And of course the championship race, championship implications, even if not for the championship, for those running around. The section we are in right now is essentially my worst part of this racetrack. Coming down the hill, the S is down the hill. You can see at the very top, that's the blindest section of the track. You go down the hill and then come back up here. This is the exit of 5, and then a lot of room there to the left to go wide if you need to. And then you come down this sort of little mini straightaway here into turn 6 and 7, which essentially are a double apex right-hander. Put that off the screen right there. So a little mini short straightaway here. It's essentially, you treat this as a big hairpin, but it is indeed a double apex corner. And this leads us to the backstretch here, which is not necessarily straight, but it is indeed considered to be a straightaway. I can see here, I definitely think the lights are going to come on based on the sky and the horizon that we see here. You can see the DRS signs there, which would come into play for, of course, Formula 1, but we are not racing that here today. But that dictates that it is a long straightaway, and it does lead into one of, if not the best passing zone on the racetrack. And our cameras today brought to you by Finian and DeCunha with Sim TV, as well as some of the assets. So I do want to give a quick shout out to them. But you can see here, coming down the bottom of the hill into turn 10. 10A, of course, is the first one, and then we have turn 10B. And then we go the top of the hill here and back underneath the Fox Factory Bridge to complete the lap. But here we come at Road Atlanta, getting ready for the Season 6 race finale, or the Summer Series season finale. Coming off the final corner here, getting ready to get GT3 underway. Green, green, green. We're racing for 35 minutes here at Road Atlanta. Heading off into turn 1 for our GT3. They're going to go side by side here, coming up the hill. And so far, everybody's getting themselves sorted, and our TCRs will begin to come down the hill, and they will go green at the starter stand. You can see the green flag already waving, but they're going to go right here. Hits on the loud pedal for is Mark Wilson, and they will get their race underway. And Breyfogle in second already has the championship underway. Mark Wilson trying to sneak up there and sneak one away and end the season on a positive note. Got Mitch Heller up there, up front, leading by about half a second over Ross Booth, heading down that long back straightaway. A lot of slipstreaming will come into effect here, because you are going quite at a high rate of speed here. Hard onto the binders here and into 10. See, everybody is spaced out. Everyone pretty much in line here. And completing another lap. We are on board, given the pace that we are expecting, we are on board for about a 25-ish lap race here this evening. Currently TCR has a little bit closer racing going on. Breyfogle closing in here at the end of the braking zone, and look at Les Turner there using the slipstream. Thought he was going to make a move on Breyfogle. Breyfogle takes a look there, shows his nose, but didn't really have the intent to make the pass. Les Turner there. Wilson got into the dirt, and that's going to open the door. Loss of momentum there. Breyfogle looking to the right side of the racetrack. Not typically a passing zone here, but sometimes in these slower cars, you can make almost anywhere a passing zone if you have enough dedication to do so. I think he thought better of that move. Drops back in line, but Les Turner right behind him. Turner, again, taking a look here. These aren't usually spots on the track where you consider making passes. Breyfogle really had to drive it in deep there to recover from that slight attack by Turner. Turner is going to drop back, and he's going to look at the bottom of the hill here, climbing back up to the top. Here we come out of 5, and Turner had a good run, but kind of got stifled there. Les Turner and Dwayne McCarthy just out of your photo right there. In TCR, we have Alex Kietzlar closing in on Terry Dahl. See, this is the hardest part of the track for me. I've never mastered this part. We get the left-hander right here, right-hander. Got to switch back really quickly and then down the hill. Slightly blind here, going down the hill. About 125 feet overall elevation change here at Road Atlanta, and now you head back up that left-hander. A lot of space here. There is some gravel there, so you do have to be careful about how much space you do choose to use. But now the braking zone for the 5 and 6 situation here. Looks like Dahl also closing in on Reed Rundle at the same time. And then we head down the back straightaway here. And into the braking zone at the chicane. You can see to the right there, there's a different short layout here available at Road Atlanta, but not using that tonight, obviously, on the full GP course. That battle will slightly fizzle out for the time being. Ross Booth up front within about 3/4 of a second of of Heller. Remember last week, I believe, if memory serves, that Heller had a good run there, but once Ross Booth was able to get by, there was a lot of issues there getting around with both lap traffic. Well, not so much lap traffic, if we want to call it that, but rather the class interactions. There was a lot of issues there, and once Ross Booth got by, he was able to drive off and just drive off into the literal sunset, as we saw last week. Our pace difference this week at Road Atlanta, much less than we had at the streets of Detroit last week. See if we can bring it on screen. So a little bit laggy here on my graphics end, so I do apologize for any slowness on the cameras. We'll try to figure that out over the course of the race, but last time by a 1:17.8 for Heller. You can see it finally pulled up here on the screen. But then for TCR, it was a 1:29.6. So a massive difference there, a massive variance in lap times between all these drivers here this evening. Or rather, it's massive, you know, in the grand scheme of things. But last week, I think we were close to almost a 30-second differential last week between these guys. So 13 seconds in that scope is not a significant amount of time. You can see they're finally switching over to Mark Wilson, who's in that battle still with Jason Breifogel for the first spot in TCR. Coming down the back straightaway here, again in TCR, coming down into the turn 10 complex, the chicane section here, seeing if indeed, well, actually, I must have missed that when I wasn't paying attention there, but some a little bit connectivity issues there, but Breifogel was able to get away and take the lead there. I'm not quite sure how I missed that. Again, dealing with a little bit of stuff here in the background, but we did manage to miss that. But Breifogel has taken the lead. You can see there in the long shot, TCR is going to be under fire from GT3 in just a minute. Be our first class interactions. You can see how close Booth and Heller are to each other here. I'm just waiting for some telemetry and camera tools for me to change here in the background, folks, so just bear with me for a brief moment. Things are back up and running. And here we come with some class interaction. Breifogel and Wilson battling, but here comes Heller to the left side of the racetrack with Booth to the left side. Wilson's going to back off and let both of them go. We'll see how it works out with Breifogel and how much time he does lose. Les Turner, remember last week at Belle Isle, Les Turner was very, very cautious with these guys and letting them go almost to his fault. But if he does that a little bit too much, then he may actually cause himself more harm than he would like. So, but up front, here comes Heller to the left side, or rather Booth to the right side of the track. They're going to go side by side underneath the bridge here. And it's hard to tell who has the right line here. I think Heller is going to be able to hold up more momentum up there, and he will manage to clear. But Booth definitely being patient, at least from what I can tell. And there in TCR, though Breyfogle did take the lead, Wilson is staying with them. Again, there's a lot of slipstream here, a fair amount of opportunity for slipstream. So especially if you can hang on to within a couple car lengths, there's definitely an opportunity to stay with a guy, even if you are a tenth or two slower than him. Lots of battling going on here. Again, Booth, I think, just being nice and patient here through 5 and 5A. I think he's close enough that he may consider making a move this time by. We'll see here with the onboard. He's going to be right in that slipstream range. He's going to have enough run. It's just a matter of whether he's going to want to dive. It's being a chicane, it's not as straightforward to make a pass. Big defensive move there from Heller. He's going to put Booth on the right side. If he was able to maintain that, it actually would have worked in his favor. Unfortunately for him, he wasn't able to. And that will cease for the time being, but we do have it spicing up again in TCR. We keep missing it. Let's go back on replay and try to figure out what happened. Again, as the lights here are becoming quite prominent, replay on screen. You can see all the class interaction going on. And Breyfogle just pulled off to the left side there and allowed Wilson to go by, and perhaps some slipstreaming was what caused that. But we'll go back to live action. So Wilson will have that half-second lead. We'll see how long it lasts for and see all the shadows and such. So we definitely are under full night conditions here. Visibility not an issue as of yet, but it will be more and more so as the race does continue. Still have 25 minutes, an estimated 19 or so laps left to complete, but here comes Heller with the run. Or rather, Booth with a run to the right side of the track. If he can keep it there, he's going to have the recommended line, but he's going to get his momentum bogged down with Heller there on the left side of the track underneath the bridge. Heller's really using that outside to his defense there at the latter end of the track. You would not think of that move working, but he's really using it to his defense. And of course, Booth doesn't really have the championship to worry about this evening. He already has it locked up. So he can be patient. He's just going for the pride, going for the checkers here this evening. And I think he's racing with that respect. But we'll see what happens coming down the hill. You see some of the temporary lights there on the top of the track and the different areas that will be most illuminated as the sun goes down even further. Pulling away by just a little bit. But this is going to be the biggest slipstreaming opportunity on the racetrack for Booth. He's had many of opportunities, but Heller's just been able to hang on through this section of the track. He's been able to maintain and just use the left side of the track, and an opportunity on a place on the track you would not think to use the left side. He's going to voluntarily give Booth that right side. Now, if Booth can just manage to clear, nope, he's going to drop back in line. I think he's trying to set up for a crossover, but even if he does so, Heller's just run that outside here down the hill and down the right-hand sweeper coming to start-finish. He's managed to run it, but look at him almost bump drafting nearly. Now he's going to have a great run into one. I think this is going to be all he needs, but Heller's going to send it on the outside. They're going to go side by side here. I think Heller's going to have the recommended line, and yes, he will. Phenomenal racing here in the Red Sox Racing League this evening. This is a battle of two guys that both deserve this championship. Now, it's quite obvious that Booth does have the faster car, but as long as Heller is able to run absolute perfect laps, it's going to be hard for him to make the pass, but he's just right there again on the rear deck lid of Heller. Just look at how close Booth gets. Like, how many laps in a row can Heller just run absolutely perfect laps? I think it's running out. I mean, you can only, every time you make a streak, it's harder and harder to keep extending. And if you make 100 free throws, making the 101st is going to be that much harder. It's just the law of odds. But he's going to open up the right side of the track. They're going to go side by side. Again, Booth forcing Heller some contact there. That will cost Booth a couple car lengths, but it's nothing gargantuan. And now he's going to have to come back from about 0.6 of a second. While in TCR, Mark Wilson has managed to pull away by about 0.8 over Breifogel. Les Turner dropped back about 2 seconds from that. And then we have Jesse Bodas and Dwayne McCarthy out there, our 5 TCR drivers on the evening. Closest other battle on track right now, Terry Dahl in 6th. He did get passed by Alex Kietzlar and then Tommy Ryan and the number 18 machine. And that number 18 McLaren, he's going to be closing in on him, or rather the Lamborghini, excuse me. Kind of read it wrong from a distance there, but he's going to be closing in, trying to get that 6th spot from Terry Dahl. Remember, Dahl had a couple opportunities to win a race earlier this season. Just none of them came to fruition, and he's struggled ever since probably about race 2, but still having a decent run. But let's see what happens. We've seen the same story play itself out about 4 or 5 laps in a row. You would think eventually Booth is going to figure it out. He's going to have a run earlier on the straightaway. I think Heller is going to have to drive it in deeper into the braking zone, probably more so than he would like to. But we'll see what happens coming underneath the bridge. And it's just, I love this camera right here. Oh, here he comes to the left side. Oh, he's looking to the left side of the track, and Heller nearly pinches him into the grass. Booth has to let off. He's just looking at the most unorthodox places to pass because that's just all he's being given. He's being given the trash and he's being told to make a treasure out of it. Heller is just running him through the ringer here. And so far, Booth hasn't been able to capitalize. But again, I'm just so curious how many perfect laps, how much perfect defense in a row can he possibly play. They're going to go side by side once again, but this is through 5 and 5A. I don't think he's had this opportunity yet. He's going to hop the curb. Now Heller is going to be on the offense right now. He's going to have that slipstream. He's going to be right to the back bumper. He's going to have the opportunity. Now he's going to have to use that right side of the track. You can see some TCRs off in the distance here. Now what's he going to be able to do? Can Booth play the same defensive strategy? Actually, Heller is actually going to use the slipstream. He's going to clear. Is he going to be able to go on the binders hard enough? Is Booth going to come back? He's not going to. Heller's going to shut the door on him there. Phenomenal use of the draft and great execution. Threshold braking, getting every last ounce of braking power without locking it up. And Heller somehow recoups the lead here. It feels like the underdog going against the Goliath here, but it's hard to call Heller an underdog, but just with the pace that Ross Booth usually has, that's just what it traditionally feels like here, as I believe that's this is Dwayne McCarthy just in front of the leaders here coming down the hill. He's going to go to the left side, be as unintrusive as he physically was able to do, so full credit to him on that. Coming into turn 5, or rather into turn 6 here. 6 and 7. Booth trying to gain. He's still in drafting range, slipstream range, whichever terminology you would like to use for it, but he's not going to get as much. I don't think he's going to get to the back bumper by the end of the straightaway, but I may very well be mistaken. Let's see here, coming down into 10A, into the chicane. Going nice and wide, getting the best entry, using all of those curbs to his advantage. And then coming down the hill here for the final turn and underneath the flag band. Road Atlanta looking very fabulous. It was a track that was recently updated graphically, I think some point in early 2021 by iRacing. They did a graphical redo. Of course, this is one of the original tracks on the sim in terms of its build date, so it did need a little bit of a facelift, and they did a phenomenal job. And of course, for the Petit Le Mans, adding some night lighting capabilities here and making it a track that is suited for all the enduro, so phenomenal to see. Of course, if you're watching this live, the Indianapolis road course getting a redo coming up in a few days. Again, if you're watching this live, if you're not watching it live, you've probably already raced on it, but Les Turner there getting past by our GT3 counterparts here. Booth doing a good job, or rather Heller doing a good job hanging on to that half-second or so gap. Interesting to see if indeed Indianapolis gets a date on the Red Sox calendar for next season. They did run one Roval, at least covered by PTR TV. We covered the Homestead Roval a few season, or rather last season. As here comes Heller by our GT3, rather our TCR battle, which has closing up. Oh no, Wilson's going to go agricultural work here, and he's going to go off, and that's going to give Breyfogle not just the lead, it's going to give him a large lead. Terrible chain of events there. Let's go back on replay and kind of get a different perspective of what happened to Wilson there. See, I think he was just trying his best to get out of the way. You can see here, there goes Heller, and I think it just throwed him off and got him out of his rhythm for turn one, overcooked it. And then once he got into the grass, it turned into a recovery tactic than it did anything else. Luckily, he did evade any incident, but now he is going to find himself 4 seconds, goes from the lead in the class to 4 seconds behind Wilson. We'll have to follow the lap times and seeing if there's any chance perhaps he can maybe there'll be some better pitting and pit execution that maybe that will help him out, because we still do have our pit stop here this evening, about 20 minutes into tonight's affair. And between, I'd say, this time and about 6-7 minutes remaining, that's traditionally when we do see our pit stop. And just actually, as I say that, we have had, and we haven't talked about it yet today, so we'll give them their airtime. Chad Dalton, James Prostel, and Bill Paulucky all have come to pit road. And actually, here he comes. Speaking of it, Mark Wilson, he's going to come to pit road for TCR. And that's the 26 machine along with him, Alex Kietzlar. Remember, he's been ladder into the top 5, so we'll see. Maybe there's some pit strategy. Maybe he's going to take a little bit less fuel and use that as an opportunity to maybe gain some time on the racetrack. Looks like Booth using the draft and starting to close in. Coming down to the end of the long straightaway into 10A and 10B. He's going to close right back in, but not close enough to make a move. Exiting 10B, heading down the bridge, 11 and 12, coming out and closing out lap number 16. And here comes Heller down to pit road, a very difficult pit road here at Road Atlantis. Easy to overcook it, go off track, crash, get a penalty, all of the above. We'll see how it does shake out. Still waiting in TCR for Breyfogle, McCarthy, and Bodas. And here comes Breyfogle into the pits. And we'll see how that does work out. Reed Rundle and Terry Dahl coming into the pits. But Booth, we are waiting for his pit stop. Him and Tommy Ryan are the two GT3s that have yet to show their face in front of their pit crew. So we'll see if indeed that does happen this time. But I'd have to imagine that it will. But it'll be interesting to see how the gaps do shake out, because they were very close to each other, and who gets the better in and out time. I do have the back end telemetry to show that. But look at this in TCR. Wilson managed to pull right to the back bumper there. Let me check the back end telemetry here. He did exactly what I thought he would do. He undercut the pits as close as he could. He was down by about 3.5 seconds. He took 3 seconds less fuel in the pits, and therefore had that 3-second delta, 3 seconds time in the bank, and that was all he needed to get right to the back bumper. Now the $1 million question, is that enough? Because remember, he doesn't just have to get to the checkered flag, he has to get back to the pits under his own power. So if he's not able to do that, there will be a points penalty issued to him, as we have some GT3s closing in. This will make the battle very interesting. The 323 of Wilson, he's going to have, that's 37 of Chris Widener, who is battling with James Prostel. They're going to slightly interrupt that TCR lead battle just for a moment. And then up front in our our GT3 class, the pit stops worked out in the favor of Ross Booth quite heavily. And now he is welcoming a almost 3-second lead. And his time on pit road was nearly 2 seconds faster than Heller. And, well, magically look at the gaps on the pits. So, rather on the intervals, that's just how that works out. Reed Rundle in the pits. In GT3, there may or may not be something wrong with him because he's been in the pits for quite some amount of time. But Mark Wilson now has to eat up just about a second, as he's lost that time on Breifogel, but still within slipstream range. And of course, there are going to be some more GT3s that will shuffle their running order up. 10 minutes to go. You can see the lights are most certainly on. You can see the illumination provided by them, but still plenty of just natural light available. So while we are going to be ending technically under the lights, not so much night conditions that will be overly challenging for these drivers. Let's take a look here with our lap time graphic. We'll change over the ticker on the left side of the display. And it'll give us a perspective, at least for TCR, because that's where the battle currently is going to be. At least the best battle on the track. Wilson just a skosh faster. Still 1.1 seconds back. Let's go ahead and just give you a thorough through the field here, as we are now under 10 minutes left to go, under about 7 or 8 laps on the docket remaining here this evening. Our GT3 champion is going to try to go double duty and take the win. Go 2 for 1, Ross Booth. Mitch Heller currently running in second. Remember that phenomenal battle they had in the opening stint. Chad Dalton, a quiet third place finish. Great job by him. Tommy Ryan running in fourth. Terry Dahl has gotten to the top 5 through pit stops. See if he can hang on. Alex Keatslar not too far behind him in 6th. Chris Widener running in 7th. James Prostel running in 8th. Bill Paul Lucky in 9th, and then rounding out your top 10 is Reed Rundle. And then in our TCR class, Breifogel, our champion as well. So you can both champions can just go double duty here this evening. Mark Wilson in 2nd, trying to close in. He's now just under a second behind. Les Turner, Batman Mobile. Remember, he had a win at Donington. He is in 3rd. Dwayne McCarthy currently running in 4th, and then Jesse Bodas rounding out the top 5 in our entire field here this evening. Of course, again, if you caught this late, this is round number 6. This is our finale. The Red Sox Race League traditionally works in 6-week mini-series. So that being said, this is race number 6, and we already have our champions lined up on the evening. So, you know, I can see here on the graphic, congrats to Jason Breifogel and Ross Booth. They already are officially the champions, but the battles for 2nd in each class is still ready and raring. And just one more time, a quick shout out to the league sponsor, or the sponsor of the race, Anodyne. Your trusted source for differentiated products for industrial, aerospace, defense, rail, and transportation and markets for over 50 years. Offers a wide range of hydraulic dampers, elastomeric bumpers, and vibration isolation products to meet all your simulation needs. You can contact Anodyne at anodyne.com, our race sponsor this evening. Now the battle shaping up. Speaking of Anodyne, who I know Terry Dahl is affiliated with, he is going to be on screen here trying to get by the 100 of Jesse Bodas. That's going to interrupt that battle that is going on with Alex Keatslar. That's going to give Keatslar the opportunity to get by, as that A little bit of interaction held Dahl up just enough to where it slowed up Dahl. So now Dahl is going to lost that ever important top 5 spot. I know me as a driver, I always find so much pride in maintaining a top 5 position. It's just the stat for some reason. It's, you know, over a top 10. Just saying that you have a top 5 for me, it just means something a little bit extra for me. So losing that is always a little bit sad. But coming down here for our TCR, we still have the battle going. You can see it here on the top end of the screen as Ross Booth coming to interact with them once more. We'll see if what it does. They're coming through 6 and 7 here, excuse me. And down our long back straightaway here. I think this is the best place that Booth could have passed them. He's going to pass Wilson. He's going to get back in line, get a tiny bit of draft, and then go ahead and try to pass Breyfogle and do so that won't affect them at all. Wilson tagging along as best he can, but just hasn't been able to make any significant progress. He still is there about 4/10 of a second, or rather 9/10 of a second off, so more than doable, but does have his work ahead of him. And his Hyundai is Mitch Heller closing in and going to go by to the right side. Actually, no, he's going to stay behind him there. Now he's going to go by. So depending where Heller decides to make his move on Breyfogle, that could open up the door for Wilson. He's going to go by there, and that's actually going to cause Breyfogle to lift there, coming to the top of the hill. That brings Wilson into it. Now they're going to head down the hill. You can see here coming down the hill, the lights are on here, and looks like Breyfogle getting down the hill pretty well here, coming to the exit of 5. That's Reed Rundle getting through the mix of them right now. Up front, Heller and GT3. Now it's 6 seconds between Heller between Booth and Heller. But now Wilson's going to be within a half second here coming onto the straightaway. So this is probably going to be one of the best opportunities he has had since the pit stop to make a move, or at least get close enough to put a little bit more pressure on Breyfogle. He's within a half second. He's within just under 4/10 of a second. And now Breyfogle's going to have to start worrying. He's going to have to start looking into his mirror, which is the last thing that you usually want to do, because that's what makes mistakes much more prominent, is when you do have to start mirror driving. See that beautiful little sunset there in the background, the clouds there. And iRacing did a phenomenal job with the solar effects here. You got to give them full marks here. That sun looks great through the thick clouds here, the overcast conditions. Of course, we got our teasers of rain in the race here last week, the MS Society race, the charity race. We got some teasers here throughout the charity event. Got some teasers of rain. Unfortunately, we don't have an ETA. We were kind of hoping that they'd say, you know, season 4 build, but didn't quite get that. But, you know, in the future, rain is coming on the sim. We'll see how that does happen. But here comes Wilson looking to the right side of the track here. Entering 5A. This is the closest he's been. And now he's going to have that draft. As I'm trying to see who that is. That is closing and getting by in GT3. But here comes Wilson. He's going to try to use the draft from that GT3 down the straightaway here. Not close enough yet. But we'll see if he does decide to send it into the braking zone. He's at least going to peek the nose there. Does he decide to stick the car there? Yes, he does. Now he's going to maybe try to set up a crossover and go down the right side, coming down the hill. Not quite, but definitely the battle in full capacity for our TCR win this evening. And not much to speak of in GT3. Booth is out there literally driving off into the literal sunset. 2 weeks in a row I get to say that. A little bit of a battle going on between Rundle and, rather, Paul Lucky and Prostel in GT3. But our main focus right now is what's going on in TCR. Getting just about 2 minutes to go, so 2 to 3 laps, depending on how it shakes out and how Booth turns around. That'll decide how many laps we have left. But here comes out of 5 down the little mini straightaway into 6 and 7. And we see some GT3s closing on in the distance. Now this is going to be the best run I think he's had so far since the pit stops for Wilson. And we have the GT3s getting by. I think that's Dahl and Widener who are getting by down the modal bridge. And we'll see how this shakes out here into the braking zone. It didn't look like he got through that nearly as well as he did, but he's still in send-it range, as I like to say, but he's not going to be able to send it because Terry Dahl is going to formulate that space right there, but that may throw Breyfogle off just a little bit. As here he goes to the right side of the track, coming under the bridge. We saw Heller put Booth in this scenario many times and hold a side-by-side on the outside, but Breyfogle going to take the conservative route there. Again, he doesn't really have anything to fight for. He is the champion. But we're coming down here. We have not gotten the white flag yet, but we are coming to the end of the lap here. So I believe scoring is, most certainly scoring is going to give us one more lap. I think we're going to cross the stripe with just about maybe 20 seconds left to go. So we're going to take our white flag lap here this time by. Wilson has begun to pull away by just a little bit in TCR. But this is going to be the white flag, and there it is on the ticker, officially from iRacing telemetry, that this is the white flag lap. And Wilson's second mistake of the day. He's going to get off in the grass. That's going to slow him up on the straightaway. And Breyfogle is going to take advantage of it and go to the right side of the track, but I don't know if he's going to have enough. Wilson's not trying to shut the door. He's trying to give him that line. They haven't wanted to have the right side of the track heading down into the chicane here. So let's just see what happens. How hard is Breyfogle going to drive it in? He's not going to drive it in hard enough, and that's going to give Wilson the opportunity to retain the lead here, and they will just be completing their last, or just be starting their last lap right now. This is just starting the white flag for TCR. However, Ross Booth is nearly completed with his lap. Again, a great season for Ross Booth, and he's had some wins, he's had some great runs, and now he's just going to put the cherry on top of a great season and come down off of the final corner for the final time. And Ross Booth is going to do double duty. He's going to win the championship, and he's going to win the race. Congrats to Ross Booth on his GT3 championship this evening. Now let's go back to TCR because this is still a live battle. And we still have a GT3 trying to get by there. And let's see if Breyfogle can take advantage of it. Into 5. He's going to try to look to the left side of the track. I think he's going to try to set up a crossover down the straightaway, and he's going to have enough mojo to do it. They're going to go side by side down the straightaway. Booth went double duty. He got the race. He got the championship. Breyfogle wants to try to do the same thing down the long straightaway, but he's not in the ideal line. Wilson's going to be able to stay door-to-door with him. We're going to have some interaction behind. What are these GT3s going to do? They're going to go 3 wide down the middle. There is Alex Keatsar. This is for the win, and look at all these GT3s swarming. Contact there with Keatsar to Wilson. That's going to cause a lot of a slow-up here. Look at Prostel. They're 3 wide here. They're 3 wide. That's Tommy Ryan in the grass there. Through all of this carnage, Wilson hangs on, and Breyfogle finishes second, but still holds on to the championship there. Oh my goodness. I could honestly say, this is a famous NASCAR saying, and I gotta say it, have you ever? No, I've never. I don't think I've ever seen a situation like that coming down to the checkers, but absolutely phenomenal bit of driving by these guys to pull that off. We got to go back on replay before we start any kind of post-race activities. I want to go back and catch some of that from the chopper cam. Okay, so we're going to go back quite a ways here on replay. You can see the run that because of that little crossover move through 6 and 7 there. Breyfogle had a hell of a run, but look at now the TCRs are coming, rather the GT3s are coming in. Keetzlar, that's him splitting the gap there. Wilson, he drove it in. There's a little bit of contact between Wilson. Let's just jump back just a second. I want to focus the camera on Wilson. You can see he cut the corner there. Boom, a little bit of contact there between him and Keetzlar. Now, I thought that was the race. He had to check up to stay on the track. It is my assumption here, and I'm pretty confident in saying it, as you can see them all just flailing out all over the place there. It was my assumption that Breyfogle saw what was happening and decided to kind of be the good guy there and not... he saw that Wilson kind of had it, and he just didn't want to play that card and lose the race in that manner. That's my assumption anyways, and I'm kind of sticking to it. But again, great run by these guys. Booth didn't quite have the the barn burner of a finish there, but still did a great job, and congratulations to him. And I do think we have him available, but let's go ahead and just run through the final results here first. In that thriller of a finish, Ross Booth didn't really have the thriller. He finished first with Mitch Heller second, Trad Dalton in third, Terry Dahl with a fourth, Chris Widener with a fifth. We had James Prostell in sixth, Tommy Ryan, Bill Paul, Lucky Alex Keetzlar with that contact there, dropped back a little bit, and Reed Rundle our top 10. And for TCR, Wilson with that phenomenal win. Breyfogle with the championship finishes in second. Turner, McCarthy, and Bodas. Sheldon Rosenbaum didn't take any time here this evening. But let's go ahead and grab our champion this evening, who did the double duty, won the race and the title. All right, Ross, do you get a copy, my friend? All right, actually, my Discord likes to add up. Let me just come right back in to stay where you are. All right, let's try that again. All right, well, my Discord's being stupid right now. Let's try to figure this out. It's like, I don't have audio from you yet. I don't think it's you. It's just my Discord likes to act up. Just give me 1 second, man. Just going to go to a slight intermission here, and we're going to figure this out. 1 second. All right, through the love of Discord, finally have this technological problem figured out. Ross, you got the championship. You did double duty here tonight. You won the championship. You won the race. And I'll tell you that first half, with that battle that you had with Heller, where he was putting on absolutely perfect defense, it was a thrill to watch. But you managed to get by after the pit stop cycle and drove off into the literal sunset for the win in the championship. Kind of talk about your race and overall the season and how it feels to be the champion.
Well, thank you. I had a lot of fun with Mitch there. I got caught sleeping on the beginning there, and he got around me. And yeah, those Ferraris are very fast down the straightaway there. I got by him on, I don't know, maybe lap 12 or something, and he literally drove right by me again. And I was like, oh man, it's going to be a long race. But Thankfully, I think the Porsche is significantly better on fuel. And if I was just close at all to Mitch there before the pit stop, I was just able to jump him through there, as I just think the Porsche is that much better on fuel. I'll have to check some numbers, and then with clean air, I was able to just run away from him there.
Yeah, I can say on the back end that your pit stop was about 2 seconds faster, so you were 2 seconds different before, and that pretty much was the dagger right there. But overall, you had a great run all season, obviously leading down to a championship. Do you think you can? I don't know. Obviously, the stats of what's going to happen in the fall are yet to be determined. But do you have confidence coming into the fall campaign that might be able to go back to back, and whatever the situation may be?
It's hard to say. There's lots of fierce competition here, and it sounds like there's even more coming. This league's always had some really great competition, so can't get your guard down.
Of course, that is the case, man. But who do you want to give a shout out to for your win and your championship?
I'll just shout out to Les and Terry. I've been here a long time, and they do a phenomenal job every single season. The racing is clean. The guys that join are fun to be around, and it's all around a good time. So thank you to them. Thank you to you for broadcasting. Really great content there. Shout out to my sponsors, Six Sigma Racing, Booth Automotive, and shout out to Mark Wilson with the win in TCR. Yeah. Let's go.
And you got to watch the replay of how that shook out. But yeah, most certainly, I'm just about to talk to him. But you have a good rest of the night, my friend. Congrats.
Thank you.
All right, Mark Wilson, I got to say, that was probably the most chaotic final lap I've seen in quite some time. And it worked out in your favor there. You managed to take the lead back from Breyfogle, and then the Hornets' nest came and swarmed you. And I have to imagine Jason there kind of cut you a break there. Is that what actually happened? Do you know?
What was on Jason's mind at the time? What was on my mind is Jason's been partying on me the whole season. And I go, you know what? I got to get this race, so I'm going to do whatever it takes. And it just so happened to end that way. I wasn't going to lift. I was going to go in, but my brakes our tires had given up on me a little bit, Corey. So I had to go a little wide, so I ended up hitting Alex. But then I just said, you know what? Go to second gear, floor it, and let's just hope for the best. And that's what I did.
That's what you did, and it worked out. And you had to come back too, because you had that off-track excursion. I think with maybe one of the GT3s may have scared you into one, but luckily you had a pit stop that I can tell you with the telemetry was about 3 seconds faster than Jason's. There, were you running it purposely dry on fuel, or was it calculated out just perfectly?
I'm running Crew Chief, so that's the app I'm running, and it let me know when pit lane was open. At that point, I knew I had gone off. I was down by 4 seconds at the time. I go, you know what, I'm going to pit now, because I knew cars were coming behind me. So I figured I'll go in, pit, get out. I should have a good run in traffic. When I came around, I saw Jason. It said Jason was entering the pits as I was on the back straight, and I thought, holy cow, what happened here? I could catch him. And then as he exited the pit lane, I was right behind him. I go, okay, it's on again. Let's go. And I respect Jason. He and I do some battling, and he knew I was going to give him room. We gave each other room. We had some really tight racing, but I just could not. I wasn't going to let that one get away. I just wasn't going to let it get away.
Well, I can say that Jason just put in our chat here that he stalled it leaving the pits there, so it wasn't fuel. He just didn't come through in the clutch. I guess no pun intended there, but either way, it works out in your favor. And of course, we'll see what the fall campaign does happen to bring, but we'll see if you can start that off with the confidence, getting a win here to finish out the summer season. Who do you want to give a shout out to for both for your win here tonight?
Well, there'll be a few people. I got Les and Terry. I got the whole Red Sox Racing League, and my teammates at AG Motorsports, Cassian and Mark Grajowski, MK, and the broadcast team when you have someone and when you're alone. All right, brother. Thank you very much.
All right. Anytime. We'll catch you soon.
Okay. Take care.
All right, so that is our post-race show here this evening. Unfortunately, we don't have our champion in TCR, but Jason's a man of few words as it is anyway. So I wanted to give a shout out to everyone watching. Make sure you like and subscribe if you have not done so. We're going to be covering the Red Sox Racing League next season as well. Details to follow, but we do have some more content coming out. The 100% Cup Series will be on next Saturday night, but we do have the Spartan Sim Racing League coming on Monday. We have a new league featured on Sunday, as well as, of course, some more stuff going on as leagues do give us some attention. But check us out at primetimeratingtv.com. If you have any questions, make sure you reach out to us. But it's going to be Corey signing out of the booth here tonight. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.